legendary clash of the Ultras, Vivo X200 Ultra, Galaxy S25 Ultra, Xiaomi 15 Ultra, and Oppo Find X8 Ultra. Who's got the most powerful moves in the camera league? Who'll be the last Ultra standing? Let the legendary brawl begin. Hey, I'm Olive, your host here at Versus.com. For our camera comparisons, we always award points with the maximum number depending on the number of devices in the test. Since this comparison involves 4 devices, the maximum score for each category is 4. We'd also like to add that we always evaluate the photos and videos using a calibrated monitor.
So as always, we'll start off with standard wide photos as we feel that's the mode people use most frequently.
Here, Vivo, Xiaomi, and Oppo all come with 50 megapixel cameras, while the Galaxy steps it up with a 200 megapixel one. However, the Vivo X200 Ultra uses a new 35mm lens, which makes shot look a bit more zoomed in compared to the more typical 23 or 24mm equivalent lenses on the others. Aperture-wise, they're all pretty similar, but when it comes to sensor size, both Xiaomi and Oppo pack 1-inch sensors. We're, as always, using Leica Vibrant on Xiaomi, since Leica Authentic isn't all that authentic, adding heavy vignetting, and on Vivo we're using Zeiss Natural, which gives more true-to-life results. In this first shot, Oppo oddly crushes the shadows way too much. Xiaomi looks okay, but my skin tone's kinda washed out. The Galaxy does better here, but it pushes the reds a bit too hard. Vivo handles it best with really nice skin tones and great detail. In this second shot of our scriptwriter Ezzy, Xiaomi once again washes out the skin tones, but aside from some small exposure differences in the Galaxy and Oppo's photos, the three are pretty similar. Vivo, though, delivers the best colors and the most natural looking skin tones. Indoors, Xiaomi goes with a cold and inaccurate white balance, while the Galaxy pushes colors a bit too much. Oppo isn't bad, but it struggles a bit with highlights. Once again, Vivo delivers the most true-to-life result.
Now let's move on to a few ultra-wide examples. Ultra-wide is a great mode for capturing more of the scenery in your photos, like these cute ducks behind me.
Here, the whole lineup carry 50 megapixel cameras, with Vivo and Xiaomi offering the widest field of view. Here, Xiaomi lowers the contrast a lot and captures a bunch of blooming. The lens was not dirty, we checked. The Galaxy comes out pretty dark this time and has a colder white balance. Oppo is well balanced overall, but we prefer Vivo's shot because it has a nicer contrast and still keeps the highlights in check. In this one, it's more of the same. Xiaomi lacks contrast and has lots of bloom. The Galaxy has a cold tone, and this time Oppo throws in a green tint. Vivo comes out on top again with the sharpest and most balanced shot here. Indoors, Xiaomi swings to the other extreme with too much contrast and over sharpening. The Galaxy tones down the contrast, but weirdly turns the gray curtain purple. Oppo is pretty close to Vivo, but Vivo wins again with the best colors and sharpest detail.
Now let's move on to portrait mode, which is one of my favorites. Let's see which one gives us the most natural looking bokeh while still maintaining details.
Here we're shooting in Master Portrait on Xiaomi, since Leica Portrait adds extreme vignetting. With the main lens, Xiaomi really washes out the skin tones and shows some weird banding on Ezzy's shirt. The Galaxy has good colors, but the edge detection on the leaves could improve. Vivo and Oppo both deliver great skin tones and very accurate edge detection. With the telephoto lenses, Xiaomi for the millionth time makes my skin look pale, and the edge detection still needs work. The Galaxy has better skin tones, but edge detection isn't perfect either. Oppo's shot is a little flat in contrast, but nails the edge detection. Same with Vivo, which also brings really nice lighting and colors to the table.
Moving on to video is probably one of the most important features of a smartphone. So let's put them to the test and see which one does it best.
With the main lens, all of these phones can shoot at 8K 30 FPS except for Oppo, which is capped at 4K 120 FPS. That said, we always record at 4K 30 FPS to keep things fair. Unfortunately, Vivo falls from grace as the HDR effect is super aggressive and looks pretty artificial. Oppo once again reduces the contrast, producing very flat video. The Galaxy and Xiaomi both deliver natural looking video, but the Galaxy pulls ahead with better detail on me and a more natural bokeh effect. Indoors, Xiaomi Xiaomi, as usual, boosts colors quite a bit, even though there's no vibrant mode for video. Vivo and Oppo look pretty similar here, but the most balanced video with the most accurate colors this time comes from the Galaxy. In portrait video, Oppo looks fine at first, but the stabilization is basically non-existent. Xiaomi nails the bokeh, but the colors are way too saturated. The Galaxy has much better color accuracy, but the bokeh fades too much at longer distances. For us, while not perfect, Vivo feels the most balanced overall. For ultra-wide video, the Galaxy and Xiaomi can still push up to 8K 30fps. Vivo tops out at 4K 120fps, and the Oppo is limited to 4K 60fps. With this lens, Vivo once again goes heavy on the HDR effect. Xiaomi, while not bad, has a ton of noise in the shot. The Galaxy delivers a natural-looking video, but it could use a bit more detail. Oppo has solid detail, but colors don't look quite as natural, something you can see when the camera walks behind me. Indoors, Xiaomi is just absolutely riddled with noise, while Vivo has a rather overly cold tone. Oppo is much better in terms of colors and exposure, but for us, the Galaxy has the most accurate footage of the bunch.
Buttery smooth video footage is absolutely crucial when it comes to your smartphone, so let's test out stabilization and see which one does it best.
For stabilization while walking, Vivo, the Galaxy, and Xiaomi do a solid job with no major issues. Oppo, though, struggles a bit with focus hunting when turning. Once we turn on active stabilization and go for a jog, Vivo, Xiaomi, and Oppo all show noticeable shakiness. Nothing extreme, but it's definitely there. Out of all of them, the Galaxy is clearly the most stable.
It is time to test out the front camera, which means I've got to take a bunch of selfies and see which one makes me look the best. While I'm at it, I'm also going to test out front camera audio and video.
On the front, the Galaxy has a 12 megapixel camera, Xiaomi and Oppo both pack 32 megapixels, and Vivo comes with a 50 megapixel shooter. In terms of focal length, Xiaomi and Oppo should give you a wider view for group selfies, and when it comes to aperture, Xiaomi has the widest. In this set, Xiaomi makes me look kinda unalive, but cranks up the saturation on my scarf like crazy. Oppo also oversaturates my scarf, but at least it gives me some skin tone back. Vivo is super sharp, but turns my red scarf into pink. The Galaxy is the only one that actually nails the colors here. In low light, things get wild. The Galaxy crushes all shadows, while Xiaomi has very low contrast and tons of noise. Vivo captures more detail, but its colors are off. Oppo ends up being the most accurate overall, even if it's not perfect. For max video recording, all the phones can shoot at 4K 60fps, but as always, we stick to 4K 30fps for fairness. You can immediately tell Xiaomi lacks autofocus on this cam because the video is super blurry. Vivo and Oppo here are pretty similar, both kinda overexposing the video. The Galaxy, while not perfect, tries its best to maintain exposure out of the four.
Now we're gonna test out the audio coming from all of these devices. We're gonna start off here with Vivo. What do you guys think? How do I sound over here? Is it doing a good job? Then we have the Galaxy. Is it any better than Vivo? What do you think? And then we move on to Xiaomi. Is Xiaomi better than the rest? We're gonna talk about it in just a moment, but finally we have Oppo. Is Oppo better than the rest? Let's talk about it.
Unfortunately, Oppo sounds extremely muffled compared to the rest. Xiaomi is loud, but we can still hear wind noise in the video. Surprisingly, Vivo and the Galaxy both sound very alike, both delivering almost identical audio recording performance.
It's time for the zoom category, which is always a very exciting one. So let's zoom into that clock over there and see which one gives us the most detail.
Here's where things get a bit tricky. Vivo has a single 200 megapixel periscope telephoto with 3.7 times optical zoom. The Galaxy comes with a 10 megapixel telephoto with 3 times optical zoom, plus a 50 megapixel periscope telephoto with 5 times optical zoom. Xiaomi packs a 50 megapixel telephoto with 3 times optical zoom and a 200 megapixel periscope telephoto with 4.3 times optical zoom. Oppo goes all in with two 50 megapixel periscope telephotos, one at 3 times and one at 6 times optical zoom. Here's a quick look at zoom using the first telephoto lens, and honestly, we think Oppo looks the best here. Switching over to the second telephoto, we still prefer Oppo's shot. At 15 times digital zoom, Vivo and Oppo clearly show the most detail. When we go up to 20 times, you can see AI enhancements kick in on Vivo, Xiaomi, and Oppo. Out of the three, Vivo definitely gives the sharpest result. And once we max it out, Vivo's AI really shows off, delivering a rather usable shot. So putting it all together, the Galaxy lands last. Xiaomi's fine, but the colors are often off. Oppo takes some great shots, but Vivo Vivo is just on another level here.
Slow-mo is definitely not a necessity to have on your smartphone, but it is a cool feature. So let's check it out.
Are you ready? Let it bounce.
Starting with the max resolution, all four phones can shoot at 4K 120 FPS, which is great to see. Xiaomi unfortunately looks a bit blurry here, while Vivo, the Galaxy, and Oppo all keep things pretty sharp. That said, Oppo's video stutters quite a bit even after multiple recordings. And to be fair, you can actually see the stutter right on the phone itself. Then we pushed it to the maximum FPS each phone can handle. Vivo and the Galaxy top out at 240 FPS 1080p, while Xiaomi and Oppo go all the way up to 480 FPS, also at 1080p. In this round, while all the videos look good, Xiaomi and Oppo clearly have the edge. Being able to shoot at double the FPS is a big win, especially if you're into capturing fast action moments.
It's time to get up close and personal. Let's get into macro.
Close range, Vivo has a slight warm tone, while the Galaxy goes a bit cold. Xiaomi and Oppo both look way more accurate in terms of color. That said, all four phones capture great detail. In macro zoom, the Galaxy struggles the most as you can't get that close to the subject, and the image looks pretty over-sharpened. Xiaomi and Oppo both let you get much closer, but there's still a bit of over-sharpening happening. Vivo nails the shot with natural sharpness and the most natural overall look.
And finally, let's test out a few low-light examples to see how these bad boys hold up in darker conditions.
In this set, the Galaxy totally messes up. Its colors and exposure are absolutely off. Oppo does better, but still leans a bit too cold. Xiaomi and Vivo give the most accurate results here, and honestly, Xiaomi's shot looks a bit more pleasing overall. Switching to the ultra-wide lens, the Galaxy once again lands at the bottom. Xiaomi and Oppo look great and almost identical this time, but they are missing a bit of detail. And that's where Vivo steps in, with a super detailed shot in this round. In portrait mode, the Galaxy once again drops the ball with those super green undertones. Vivo, Xiaomi, and Oppo all deliver solid shots here, but like before, Xiaomi still has that habit of washing out skin tones a bit too much. With the primary telephoto lenses, the Galaxy places last again, with a super magenta photo and not much detail. Xiaomi is much better, but its shot is still a bit blurry. Vivo nails the colors, but it's not quite as sharp, while Oppo is ridiculously sharp, though the white balance is slightly off. On video with the main cam, none of the phones are spectacular, but as usual, Xiaomi makes me look like the corpse bride. The Galaxy and Oppo deliver similar results, just with some slight saturation differences, especially on the orange tones. Vivo comes the closest to how the scene actually looked in real life, but it is riddled with noise. With the ultra-wide camera, Xiaomi captures a lot of noise and the image looks smudged. Oppo also looks overly smoothened plus desaturated. Vivo and the Galaxy both capture way more detail, but the Galaxy pushes the blue tones way too hard, while Vivo keeps colors more natural. Alright, let's do a quick summary and see who the winner is. Our scoring system is based on order of importance, giving higher percentages to more popular categories like wide, ultra-wide, portrait, and video, while assigning lower percentages to less popular categories such as audio zooms, slow motion, and macro. For example, in photos taken with the wide lens, Vivo scored 12 general points, with 20% of this equaling 2.4 final points, and so on with the next phones and categories. Then, looking at the results with the main camera, ultra-wide, and portrait, Vivo came out on top. For video, stabilization, and the front cam, Samsung took the crown. When it comes to audio, it's a tie between Vivo and the Galaxy. For zoom, Vivo clearly dominated. For slow motion, Xiaomi flexed its muscles. Macro gave us a three-way tie between Vivo, Xiaomi, and Oppo. And finally, for low light, Vivo was the best performer once again. After counting all the points, in fourth place is the Xiaomi 15 Ultra. It showed good performance overall, but the photo processing still needs some serious work. In third place, we've got the Oppo Find X8 Ultra, almost taking second place, being super consistent across most tests. That means in first place, and yeah, you probably saw this coming, it's the Vivo X200 Ultra, an absolute beast when it comes to still photos. That said, there's still room for improvement when it comes to videos. And in second place, we've got the Galaxy S25 Ultra, which really stood out for video and front camera performance. We're curious to know which one of these phones takes the best photos for you. Please let us know in the comments below. Of course, links to all of these flagship phones can be found in the description below. Before you head out to Narnia, be sure to leave a big thumbs up and make sure to subscribe, as we're always testing new devices to help you decide what is best for you. We'll see you in our next video, and until then, take care.